everyone, and welcome to another video here from Nordic Anglers. My name is Daniel, and today we have gone to the river here in Denmark that opens the earliest. We're gonna try to catch a salmon. Conditions are actually looking quite good. It's not that cold, but of course it's very early, so there's not many salmon here. But the most important thing we're gonna do today is this is Bo, my good friend, who's working with Sage and Rio in all of Scandinavia, and he has brought every single one of the new.
All of them, the R8 Spey rods. And also some single-handed.
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about all brand new Sage R8 Spey rods, but also all of the new very cool Rio lines.
Yeah, game changer bodies that are some new shoot densities. It's very good for this conditions we have today.
Exactly. So in this video, we're going to try to catch a salmon
as well.
But first and foremost, we're going to test out and take all of these awesome R8 Spey rods for a spin. That's what this is all about. Well, we have had the first fish. We fished for about an hour now. The stretch out here really looks well. There's two curves of the river, and out here is one of the best spots for this river for catching a really early salmon. We fished it.
Yeah.
We haven't had any contact so far, but I mean conditions are good, but they're still very far between the fish out here. But you know, it was nice getting out here, getting the first fishing done, you know, so we can relax and start to talk about the things. One of the things that that today is all about. We're gonna talk about the new Elite Game Changer bodies.
Yeah.
And these are all brand new, right?
Yeah. The Game Changer been in the program for a couple of years now. Very popular line in 3 different densities. We redone the program a bit. The lines have entered the elite program, meaning it's now with the slick cast and the next and the connect core, no stretch core. And we changed the program a little bit.
Yeah, because I've been using and we've been selling these for quite some time. The Game Changer shooting heads. Originally, there were 3 different densities in the old series. There was a float, hover, intermediate.
Yeah.
A float, intermediate, and then sink 3. There was 4 densities, that was basically the gist of it. And then a float, intermediate, sink 5.
Yeah.
And those 3 were definitely some of the best-selling lines in for Danish fishing and for Norway and Sweden as well, for all of Scandinavia fishing. And what you've done basically is you have adjusted the series and then added 2 more.
Yeah.
So you've basically changed the Game Changer. So it's you still have the intermediate. The floating intermediate, the floating sink 3, and the floating sink 5.
Yeah.
But you've added 2 new ones, and in particular, one of these is going to be an all-time favorite, and it is already one of the best-selling lines I have in the shop, even though it's not been on the market that long. This has been highly anticipated, and this, of course, is the intermediate sink 2, sink 3, which is this one. And I must say, I think you've really outdone yourself. This was the missing link, at least for my fishing. This was the one that really was missing.
For many.
Yeah. Also awesome for Norway and stuff. And and as you said, you've changed up the different grains also in the system.
Yeah, we cut down instead of having 25 grain between. We have now 50 grains, which makes the program a little more easy to view, and I think also for everybody easier to pick the right line.
Yeah, exactly, because it was very, very comprehensible, and you know, 25 grains is only 1.6 grams. So yeah, I mean, I think it makes it a lot easier that it's available from 400 grains with 50 grains intervals up to 725, right?
Yes.
And that just makes it a lot easier to actually locate exactly the line you want, and you don't have to have as many different ones in the store as well. So I think that's a nice addition. And of course, with these lines, as within most of these shooting heads, these lines, you can cast them without a tip, but they do not perform as well.
Oh, no.
They definitely need a tip. They need a running line as well, of course, but they need a tip. And for me personal, I like the 10 and 15 feet replacement tips. Those are nice. They have some taper. They cast really well. They present the fly very well, and they're available in all the different the different sink rates. That is important.
It is the most sold lines here in Scandinavia, the tapered ones. Of course, we have the mode tips, which are a little more takes bigger flies, go a little deeper, but most sold is tapered tips. For sure.
The replacement tips is available in float, intermediate, sink 3, sink 6, and sink 8.
8, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, if you cannot find the thing you need inside that, then I don't know what you're fishing. So basically, they need a tip. It's not that difficult to find the right one. It's just basically go out there and get one. So, also you have added another one that is a really, really heavy one when it comes to sinking. As I said, you've outdone yourself with the intermediate sink 2, sink 3, but you've also added a sink 3, sink 5, sink 7.
Yeah, and in Norway they think the same as you do with that one, because this is one they've been looking for in Norway. For the early fishing, high water, cold water.
Like we have today.
Yeah, exactly like today.
I'm gonna take this for a spin on our next fish through of these two curves and these two bends, and I'm gonna use one of these on the 15 weight. Just to hammer away. I'm looking so much forward to that. But yeah, as you said, a sink 3, sink 5, sink 6 is awesome for when there is a lot of water, like today. And I think a lot of people are gonna buy this in particular for the early Norway, but also for the early Danish fishing. I see some applications for this in Denmark as well.
This will do as well in Denmark. Yeah.
So basically, you have added 2 new densities to the Game Changer series. You have added the Elite with the non-stretch core and the slick cast coating. So basically, overall, you have improved them and improved the series quite a lot, I think. But the price is the same as it used to be, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, improvements at the same price is quite nice.
That's good.
And I think with these in mind, you have actually completed this. So now you can fish any situation that I can ever think about. There's gonna be a Game Changer body for exactly that.
I'm sure of that. Yes, I'm sure of that part.
So wherever you're fishing, whatever type of fishing where you're using two-handed rods for salmon or sea trout, there's going to be a Game Changer, a Rio Game Changer line that's going to be perfectly suited for exactly your fishing. now we've fished with all the different rods, and we tried the stretch here once again. I think we fished it quite thoroughly, and we gave it a shot, but so far still no salmon. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna take you through some of the different models of this R8 Spey rod. Some of those that we in particular really think, well, all of them stands out, but these are the ones that at least
suits this market.
Yeah. Suits the in particular the Danish and the Scandinavian market very well. And we're gonna start up in the light end. So this is actually, or we could just say, how many different models are there in the R8?
13 in total.
13 in total.
Yeah.
And some of them has been designated as kind of, you talked about power rods.
Yeah, we have a switch rod, which is the first one you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And we have some light line rods, which is pretty long rods in low line classes, class 5, 6.
Okay.
Then we have the big family, which is one of these also. And then we have some power rods, which is 8 and 9, class 8 and 9 rods from 12.5 foot to 15 foot.
Okay, so they have basically been built for a longer cast and maybe with to make more line speed.
More line speed for the really heavy lines.
Okay. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk more about that at the individual rods here. The first one that I have here is actually one I bought for myself. This is an 11.5 feet 7 weight. This casts around 450 grains.
Yeah.
It's really awesome in particular for all summer salmon fishing and for all the smaller streams here in Denmark. So if you're fishing Norway or you're fishing Iceland or something along those lines and you're fishing in the summer, then this is a really nice rod for doing exactly that. Would be perfect for hitching as well.
Floating light on that is beautiful.
Yeah, and in particular also if you're fishing in Denmark, then a lot of the rivers here in Denmark are not as big as the Gudenå here, and this is basically very ideal for exactly those types of situations. You could also use this for some really big streamer fishing for, let's say, maybe just trout. Or this would also probably be quite efficient for Argentina and stuff like that.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So the 11.6 weight, the 11 feet, no, 11 feet.
Foot 6.
Yeah, 11.6. 7 weight. A nice light rod that just overall feels very well. And casts very easily, very effortlessly, and with around maybe 450 grains. Perhaps we should also just address the actual fitting of the rods now, before we get into all the different models. What I like is that Sage has gone in a more classical direction, you could say.
Went a big back.
Yeah.
I'd say, and I find them very beautiful. Reel seat, wooden reel seat. As in the old days, and a very nice calm color.
Yeah, and very classical, I think.
Yeah.
I think the golden trimmings along with the brown blank here. Of course, all the materials is the best and most technologically advanced you can get out there. But otherwise from that, I think it's like I like that Sage has gone gone in the direction of making something that looks stylish, looks very high end, very classy, and just feels very well. So in regards to the fittings and the actual setup of the rods, I think Sage have done a really awesome job with these.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Well, that was an introduction to the 11.5 7 weight. Now we're gonna talk about the next one.
But you have this in 8 weight as well.
Ah, it's available in 8 weight as well.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So that would make it. Is that one of the power rods or is?
No. It's still the switch rod. I would say just a bit heavier line for more windy conditions, or if you prefer the 8 weight instead of a 7 weight.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like this one a lot. It's perfectly suited for some of the upper reaches of Skjern, for instance, and stuff like that. So I'm gonna put this to good use this summer, and hopefully I will land a couple of salmon on this one. If you can hand me the other one, that is the next one we're gonna talk about, and this is the 12.5 feet, but also a 7 weight. What you get in the 12.5 feet is you get a bit more blank, you get a bit more reach, and also this rod. Again, it casts, or we have mounted this with around 450 grains, like on the other one. But here you can basically get a bit more range when you're doing the spey casting and the switch casting. You have a bit more range in order to get the lines free of all the seaweeds and no, not seaweeds, all the weeds and stuff. And this, I would say, is probably what I would recommend for the first time angler who's going to fish for salmon in Denmark. The 12.5 feet 7 weight is as all round as you can get. It has not enough oomph to actually cast through the quite windy conditions we get here in Denmark.
It's fast rod, so it will.
But it also still is light. It presents the fly really well without making too much noise on the water, which can be an issue some places in Denmark where we have some quite clear water. And then also this will fit almost any situation you will encounter here in Denmark, and it will fit all the different individual waters. So if I were only to be allowed to have one rod for fishing salmon in Denmark, then something like this, 12.5 feet 7 weight, casts around, as I said, 450 grains, that would be optimal. This rod in particular is fairly easy to cast. It performs exceedingly well, also with the sinking line. On here is mounted the the intermediate sink 2, sink 3 with a sink 6 tip, and it was actually the first rod I brought and fished the stretch with, and it did it outstandingly well. Even though the water conditions here are very high, it both switch casts and overhand casts very, very well, and it's easy to cast.
Yeah.
So basically, this one has also our highest recommendation, the 12.5 feet 7 weight. Den næste i serien, som vi har brugt en masse tid på at kaste med og lege med i dag, det er lige steppet op, men stadig i klasse 7. Den, der hedder 12.6 klasse 7. Det man får i den her stang frem for den anden, det er jo, at man får selvfølgelig en lille smule mere klinge, men den kaster faktisk også med de her 450 grains, ligesom den anden. Så man får en lille smule mere klinge, det vil sige, man kan også få en lille smule mere distance på. Samtidig så når man får en lille smule mere længde på, så har man jo en smule bedre reach, som er en fordel i forhold til alle de gange, man skal gå underhåndskaste. Hvis man har plads nok i forhold til træer, men man skal nå ud over, siv og grøde, som ligger inde på land. Så 12.6 klasse 7, det vil jeg sige, sådan helt overordnet set, tror jeg til dansk fiskeri, så er det den her, vi kommer til at sælge flest af. Det her vil jeg sige er go-to-stangen til det danske fiskeri, og den er altså virkelig, virkelig potent og lækker. Det her er virkelig en helstøbt stang, og som sagt, så tror jeg, at det her det bliver til det danske fiskeri, den vi kommer til at sælge flest af. Den er bare en fornøjelse at samle op, og så er det sådan set bare at samle op, og så bare drible afsted ud af og tænde nogle kast afsted, og så køre ud igennem Ådalen.
Den har jeg købt til mig selv.
Ja. Det har jeg faktisk også. Jeg har faktisk købt de 2 7'er her til mig selv. Og glæder mig utroligt meget til at spænde både den ene og den anden op i en laks her i løbet af år.
Den er sat op nu med din favoritline og det hele.
Ja, men det var også den her, jeg gik ned over med første gang. Altså med intermediate, synke 2, synke 3 linen og så en tung flue. Så jeg havde håbet, at det skulle have været i dag, den skulle smøres ind i blanke skæl. Det blev det nok ikke lige, men i hvert fald 12,5 fods klasse 7 er super anvendeligt og super allround. Altså, der er ikke nogen dansk lakseå, som du ikke vil kunne dække rigtig godt og perfekt med den her i de fleste vandstande. Så 12,5 fods klasse 7, lige skabet. The next in line that we want to highlight in this video is one that you pointed out to me.
Yeah, 12.6 8 weight.
This is one of the rods that Sage designated as a power rod, right?
Yeah.
And I must say, it feels really powerful. What I really like about these rods in general is every single time I pick one up, I'm surprised by the actual weight of these. They are very, very, very light. And this one in particular, it just has really a tremendous amount of power, it seems. Being very light and very, very fast. So this would be an excellent rod for, you know, all your basic summer fishing in Norway, for instance, and also all the fishing in Denmark where you need a bit more power to actually power through the wind. The Danish fishing is often characterized by a lot of windy conditions. So if you struggle with those, then perhaps you should consider the 12.5 feet 8 weight instead of the 7 weight. Yeah. I mean, this is a really nice rod, and it's one of the rods that I had not tried actually before you pointed out to me that this was one of the rods that you thought I should really pay attention to. I keep hitting the water here. I think it's because of the leader, but 12.5 feet 8 weight, a very, very nice, very powerful, very light rod. The next one in the series is one of my absolute favorites. Regretfully, I'm not going to Norway this year, but if I were, then I would definitely have bought one of these. This is the
14 foot 9 weight.
Yeah.
6 piece.
Yeah, and again, it's one of the rods that they have designated as one of the power rods.
Yeah.
Which means that it basically just has a bit more oomph. It has a bit more power. It has a bit more, you know, core strength in order to actually deliver the longest of casts. What I really like here is Sage has done something a bit atypical from what they've done the other years. Basically, they have made this into a 6-piece rod. You have been able to get those before, but normally you would have to pay an additional there would be an additional charge for the 6-piece rods.
Yeah.
This one has the same retail price as all the other R8 Spey rods.
Yeah.
It's just 6-pieced. So here you get what I would probably characterize as the best early fishing, the best rod for early fishing in Norway, in Sweden, in Scotland, for that matter. It's 6-pieced. It has just tremendous amount of power, and when you pick one of these up, you will be very, very delighted to feel how actually light it feels. In comparison to other 14 feet rods. So this one I foresee is going to be one of the most sold ones that I have in the store, because it basically ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, it's a perfect salmon rod, that one.
Yeah. And I'm trying to convince myself of finding some sort of use for this one, because this is basically a rod that I would really, really like to own. I fished a lot with it today, and I'm almost in love. Let's say it like that.
A week in Norway and you're there.
Yeah. So the 14 feet 9 weight in 6-piece powerhouse of the series, really an excellent rod for all your bit heavier fishing.
Okay.
So basically the last rod of the day, the one I spent some time fishing with before, just because it's not very often that I get to fish a 15 feet. Because this of course is the most powerful rod, the biggest rod of the series. This is the 15 feet 10 weight. Today I've been fishing with the 725 grains,
yeah,
sink 357, and then a really heavy T-tip as well. So
and 2 flies.
And actually to get the fly even down further, I added 2 flies to the leader with tungsten beads on there, and I must say I'm impressed with even though there is so much water here, and the water level is so high, and this is a big deep river, then I could, you know, I could easily feel the bottom if I let, you know, the fly hang too long and stuff like that. So I'm very sure that I fished perfectly ideally at the bottom here with this line setup, which is really cool. But it's also just what I find in regard to exactly this one, the 15 feet 10 weight, is when first I picked it up, I was really amazed and astounded by how light it actually feels.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that characterizes the entire series.
The complete series, yeah.
Yeah, you can feel that these are, you know, made from the absolute pinnacle of blanks. They're very, very light. They're very how do you say that? They just perform exceedingly well. They snap back exactly as you would like them to, and there's just an enormous amount of power in these, in particular here in the 15 feet.
Sage call it intuitive.
Yeah. The 15 feet here, 10 weight, is of course a powerhouse. This is a rod built and intended for the biggest of conditions, the biggest of water, and the highest of water levels, and basically for something like this, perhaps even bigger water than this. Ideally. Yeah. But it was a joy to fish this. I do not currently have, you know, something that this would be perfectly suited to, but there is a lot of people out there who, especially for Norway and Sweden, the bigger waters, that need a 15 feet. And then I would urge you to consider this one, as I would with in regards to whenever you wanna you know, get a new two-handed rod. I can highly recommend the Sage Spey R8 rods. These are really, really awesome rods, built to perfection, thoroughly tested, and just rods that we are proud to present and to be able to offer all of you at Nordic Anglers. So when next you want to go find a new two-handed rod, you should swing by Nordic Anglers. See our big selection for these. These have our highest recommendation. I think you're freezing a bit now, right, Bo?
Yeah. That works out.
We've been standing here in the almost freezing water for quite a long time talking about these rods. Stefan just turns up the camera and then he walks onto shore whenever, because he's freezing too much. I think we did a good job today. Yeah. So
now we'll fish until to get warm.
Yeah. But there's a few more I want to try, Bo.
Yeah.
There's a few more I want to try. One last thing I want to show you is the big potential in one-handed fishing for salmon and sea trout. A rod that I've really come to love and enjoy fishing is the Sage R8 core 10 feet 7 weight. This is one of the coolest rods for exactly this fishing, and in particular because Rio has launched some awesome lines for one-handed fishing. They're called Rio Minimax, Sketched Minimax, and they're basically kind of the same lines as for the two-handed series, with a floating, you know, intermediate hover parts that has a sinking part that is sink 3 or sink 5. These are excellent for one-handed fishing, and just to be able to go and just throw this as well as this casts is really cool. So the last thing I wanted to show you and to talk to you about was this one, the 10 feet 7 weight rate core, R8 core, or however you want to pronounce that, because this, I think, in my book is one of the best one-handed salmon rods I have tried for a very long time, or perhaps even for forever. I'm really thrilled about this one, and just to be able to swing this around. Got a bit too much. Just cast exceedingly well. So if you're looking for something cool, something exciting, something for salmon and sea trout, or even just big streamer fishing and trouts, then the 10 feet 7 weight rate core is a really strong bet. In particular with the Minimax Sketched lines. Just a small trip, not trip, but just a small Nej, det gider jeg ikke. Det er bla bla bla. Det er fint. Kan du klare dig uden det? Ja. So the 10 feet 7 weight is just an absolutely amazing tool for all your streamer or all your salmon and sea trout fishing. In particular for the streams in Denmark, it's nice, it's fast, and it just performs and gets the job done. In particularly with the Mini-Max gadget heads. This would also be really awesome for fishing bombers and all that sort of thing, or summer water levels in Norway and Sweden. The 7 weight 10 feet is just a blast, and I really enjoyed fishing this one. So Bo, thank you a lot for this day, for the demonstration, and for showing me all the different rods.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I hope we can do this another time. It's so nice to have the time, to actually try all the different rods, to try all the different lines. I was confirmed in my thinking that these were absolutely amazing rods, and they are, and I was confirmed in my strongly held belief in the two of them I have already bought. They just perform excellently, and regretfully it was not today that we landed a salmon, but it's salmon fishing, and this is extremely early salmon fishing, so. I'm very happy to have tried them all. They are very cool rods, and I'm looking forward to an excellent season of salmon fishing. So thank you for taking the time. Thank you for driving all the way over here.
Thank you for the invite.
And for keeping a strong faith and even in this freezing water. I think we did okay.
Yeah, we did.
We'll get a salmon next time, I hope. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, of course, we have the full selection of all the lines and of course of all the rods at Nordic Anglers, along with a lot of anything else you could possibly ever need for this most fantastic hobbies of all, fly fishing. We have it all. So swing by Nordic Anglers. Thank you for watching, and good luck out on the water.